The so following our recent three practice circle, you reached out to Rob after the fact, and fill us in why you did that and what transpired.
Jim, I realized after the three practice circle that I had been unkind or really even cruel in the way that I'd spoken to Rob. And I certainly hadn't done the three practices. So I decided that I wanted to make that right, because I actually do like Rob. I met him previously, actually. And so I thought I better see if I can repair it. Yeah. So that's why I reached out to him. Yeah.
And maybe for this, can you tell us a little bit about what was prompting you? You know, I mean, the nature of the three practices is we say things that are pretty stark at times to people, or they hear us say things. You know, we're trying to not attack people or bully people in any way and all that. So, but people are very frank. So what was the line that you felt like you crossed?
Probably the main thing, I suppose, was the whole comparing my best to your worst, you know? So I was presenting myself as some kind of champion of women. And then I was like, I think both explicitly and implicitly, oh gosh, what's happened here?
You're okay, keep talking.
I had both implicitly and explicitly, I think, suggested or even outright claimed that Rob, in fact, was something akin to the opposite of a champion for women.
I don't want to say were you surprised, or what was your response when Benjamin reached out to you?
Well, two things. I wasn't as offended as he thought I was, because I know his underlying passion. You know, I've watched his writings. I've watched his stance for several years, protecting women. And so, yeah, we've got some philosophical differences, but when it comes to the rubber hitting the road, we both lay down our life for a hurting woman. Mm-hmm. I know that about him. And so I felt his passion rather than take offense. And so when he approached me, I appreciate him approaching me, because you know, obviously, I see how I could have been offended, and he was leaning into that, and so I was certainly willing to have some time with him, which I enjoy. You know, I notice if I get on and Benjamin is already on at three practice groups, he's always happy that I'm there, and vice versa. So, you know, we sort of lean into, you know, a friendship that has been growing, even though we've largely let it grow through three practices. We have met in person, and that was a really good time some time back. And we know we disagree. We know where our areas of disagreements are, and we're learning about each other. And I think that tempers the disagreement.
Yeah. You change your positions about the things you disagree on?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay. All right. So that's not the intent, but it's also, I think people just presume, you know, that in order to like reconcile or connect, you have to, like, somebody's got to, like, you know, wave the white flag and say, okay, well, I was, you know, and that's a very different channel to go down. But this idea that when people like each other, the rules can change, you know, when we.
Well, yeah. I mean, in fact, I said to Rob, like, I mean, I got more of a chance to listen to him. You know, I mean, it was a funny thing because another fellow, am I allowed to say people's names who were in the three circle? I don't really have permission. Anyway,
sure.
Another fellow in the circle.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, fellow.
Oh, Chris. So Mr. Christopher Harris, whom I enormously respect. Right. He had brought up this thing about, he felt like there needed to be some kind of resolution, or that, like that if people disagreed, then they needed to meet up later to you know, to discuss it further or something. And when he said that, I had like a really big internal reaction, and I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, no, I think it's perfect the way it is. Like, just rock up here, have this agreement, that's it. I never have to talk to you again, right? Like if that's what I want, right? But so I had that big reaction. But then later, when I got to talk to Rob, I realized that, oh yeah, like I see what he was on about.
Well,
because like I got to listen to Rob at more length,
right,
and that was, I was like, yeah, this is a great guy. He actually kind of like to whatever extent agrees with me, or like he sees my passion and he understands it, and like I feel like I'm on the same side with him at some level way more than I did when I was kind of a little bit shouting at him during the three circles. So yeah.
What is this sense that Benjamin is, you guys are on the same side? What is he talking about there?
Well, Benjamin has just a passion for women who've been abused, and really has been very, very outspoken on bringing perpetrators to account. And I'm all in. I'm right there with him. I mean, you and I have a similar journey. We got some very, very big differences, but when people are getting hurt, that's what brought us together, Jim.
Right.
And in a very similar way, that brought Benjamin and I together. And then I've also know a little bit of his backstory with sort of the way he was treated by a bunch of Christian guys in a card counting club. And
to be explained at another time. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have a lot of empathy with sort of where he's landed, and so I just feel like the common ground between us far outweighs whether we trust Trump or not in this crisis.
Yeah.
Any other details to this you want to share, that your insights or things you wish people knew, or
I would just say.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben. Go ahead. Oh, okay. I would just say that the connection that I've felt with Ben before I met him then was reinforced once I met him, and has been continually reinforced even in the little things, the delight he has when I show up, and hopefully vice versa. I to some extent feel that with other people that show up again and again and again. They're people that I've never met but I want to meet. I mean, Christopher, there's no question. If I go to Tampa, I'm going to meet Christopher. I'm not going to change his mind, but we're going to like each other even more, because we're both driven by this underlying desire to love my neighbor as myself.